Hey guys, welcome to another commentary done by Diggity. Up right hand corner we have Happy starting as the yellow Protoss. Bottom right hand corner we have alternate Socke, had to think about it for a second, starting as the light blue Protoss, or Socke. Sorry, I'm mispronouncing that. And I apologize to all the Europeans out there. Stay on me, so I will pronounce all of these names properly. And if it's not actually Happy, it's like Hape. Let me know. I will adjust my speech. We shouldn't be butchering it. I guess leave it to the Americans to butcher language. But anyway, I digress. This on TalDarim Altar from Go4Sc2, and you should really pay attention to this tournament in particular because even though I think it's under the radar, particularly in the West, it actually shows you who rises to the top, and that really predicts it ahead of time. You'll see guys succeed really almost every week in the Go4Sc2 tournament, and they're just really not known on the international scene for some reason. I don't know why that is, perhaps because it's played more frequently. Not sure, but try to check out the semifinals and the finals at the very least on a regular basis because they're really good matches, including this one. Anyway, alternate Socke from Germany, Socke, sorry, from Germany, starting at bottom right-hand corner. He's had a spotty record recently, but I think that's because he's just been playing a higher caliber of competition in the NASL currently, and actually not doing god-awful there, I have to say. I've been impressed by his play. Happy starting in the upper right-hand corner, starting as the yellow Protoss. Unfortunately, I do not know a lot about him. I think he's on Team Empire, and I do believe he's from Russia. It's one of those very famous Russian Terrans, which you have Braytok and... Yes, sorry, you have Straylock. Wow, brain fart there. I apologize. Anyway, it looks like we do have a refinery and barracks opening. And is it Straylock? I give up. Anyway, barracks, just standard opening from Happy. He's already has that SCV moving up to the upper left-hand corner, so he is going to come across this base somewhat late from Socke. And it looks like, oh wow, Socke immediately going for a fast expansion. Incredibly risky build on this map. Actually, I'm going to take it back. Not super risky on this map in particular. There's riskier maps to do it on, but very gutsy moves. So we're going to try to take a strong economic lead here by taking this Nexus at the natural. This is TalDarim Altar and a gateway to follow, which has a very wide ramp here, but nearby third base, which does have another entrance that is wide and near. But the thing is, it's easy to reinforce. The one problem could be Hellions because of that wide gap, maybe even Reapers because of the hop down location and not having a lot of troops to deal with it. I assume we're going to have more a Zealot heavy opening from Socke in the defense just because he is limiting gas to start. It looks like he does have just now 3 probes there. And unfortunately, the direction of the scout from Happy is going to play in Socke's favor because keep in mind, he's scouting this base absolutely dead last. So a huge lead for him. Gateway just finishing now, and it looks like we are... Ooh, okay, so 2 gas opening. Perhaps Banshees, again, perhaps Infernal Pre-Igniter upgrade or some sort of heavy tech timing attack, which there are a lot of them out there, so I try to hold my tongue. Because we are still, I mean, it's the early stages of Starcraft 2, let's be honest. Bunker preventatively, and I hope he recycles that near immediately because it's going to be necessary to get I suppose, the amount of troops just to put pressure on Socke before he gets that troop count. Second gateway, Zealot being warped out. It looks like there's already an initial Zealot running out in the field, and Cybernetics Core a little over halfway finished. And really, okay, I hope we see Hellions to start, because Hellions could be very effective. This is a very wide open ramp. The Stalkers are going to be somewhat later. If there's enough Hellions out, they should be able to overwhelm this. Looks like the SCV wandering in just now, seeing no second gas, has seen the natural expansion, and is going to see 2 gateways. And it looks like Happy is not going to recycle that bunker, which I really wish he would. Looks like he's getting a starport, so I assume going to Banshee to start. It's possible we could see some drop, but honestly, Medivacs would be underutilized on this map. A little bit of a supply block there as well. There's okay, we do have a tech lab, so I assume we are in fact going to see an early Raven build. And it looks like that Hellion is engaging the Zealot in open field, and it needs to ignore that Zealot. It's already taken some damage. 58, and it's still actually trying to engage here, and it looks like it's okay, killing a probe, but really not worth it. He needed to move up and out of the field and then get on that probe line before these guys get out. Looks like already a Stalker moving up to put some counter pressure, so I take it back. Maybe that bunker necessary, because already, very rapidly, Socke with a fantastic build, 2 Zealots and a Stalker to apply pressure on that front and deny that natural expansion, just in case there was something to follow up. Hellion in the natural expansion, probes putting up somewhat of a fight, but just getting out microed. 3 kills already, but oof, Happy needs to do better than this if he's going to stay in this match. Already that Stalker has whittled the health down, just 13 left, 3 left, and no additional kills. That was a bit disappointing. Marines trying to keep that Stalker back. Looks like shields have been taken. That factory going to sneak back just because of the additional range, and a lot of Marines coming off the line to provide some repair defense just in case. Unfortunately, this is slowing Happy down even further, getting 2 additional barracks as well as a tech lab. Banshee is moving up and Cloak about halfway finished, and he needs to get a lot out of this Banshee to stay in this match, but unfortunately it looks like we already have a Robo with an Observer out and a second Observer in production, which will definitely help out. Forge third Gateway now, and I think we have a sufficient amount of Stalkers. Okay, just 2 Stalkers out in the field currently, no Warp Gates. Okay, Warp Gates actually just now being upgraded. This is unfortunate. This Banshee is going to have a window of opportunity, but it's not going to be sizable. Needs to get a lot of damage done very rapidly. An Observer already waiting there. Socke already prepared for this. Unbelievable. 2 kills, 3 kills. Not enough. Needs more than this, but is already being assaulted by those Stalkers. Cloak not... Okay, just finishing upgrading. Sneaking out with just 10 health. Oh my goodness. Woo! That is huge. Happy needs to preserve that to at least maintain some map control. Actually getting a second Banshee. Perhaps to get a just base troop count so he can go out and take his natural expansion. Reactor in production. He does have Marauder on the front, but just bringing up the Harvester versus Harvester income take. And let's see if I actually have that fancy. Yeah, there's the income tab. You can see everything in Zock's favor currently, and significantly so. Actually not super significantly, but once those mules drop out, you'll see a big drop. 42 Harvesters versus 28. Wow, that just huge. Looks like Banshee's holding up in that natural expansion to get, or sorry, in that main to get repaired up. Observer at both locations, some cannons warping in preventatively as well. And what Socke can do, I love this early forge. I'd actually like to see a second forge to push those upgrades to just have a brutal infantry-based army. Going armor first, but honestly, sneaking past those Banshees with a couple Stalkers could take out the Destructible Rock, take an early third before Happy's in any sort of position to put on some counter pressure. Additional Tech Lab, and it looks like a Raven to follow it up. Interesting play. I'm kind of curious about that Raven, honestly. It is possible we will see a point defense drone and a Viking to follow this up. I'll bring back to the production tab, sorry about that. And interesting, we have a Twilight Council, a bit of a pause there. A Twilight Council to get perhaps early Zealot Leg Charge or maybe even Blink. And if we do see a longer dedication with that Raven, point defense drones can be fantastic against Ravens. Or sorry, against Stalkers. Mixing my terms here. Medevac in production. I don't know how useful that'll be at this stage, though, because this is a close reinforcement map. On top of that, very highly upgraded troops. Looks like level 1 weapons, sorry, level 1 armor, finishing level 1 weapons on the way, and level 2 armor now also being produced. It's going to make those Stalkers even stronger, but I have to say, this is kind of heads up on Happy. He's seeing a very Stalker-heavy composition thus far with 9 Stalkers, and getting out that Raven early will definitely help. Ooh, picking off a couple troops. Oh, loses a Banshee. That hurts. Ooh, that hurts. But yeah, still a very heavy Stalker force, and having this Raven build this energy now so he can drop a lot of point defense drones later, again, maybe with a Viking in there to do some more additional action with his Banshee could be significant. Looks like he is going to peek out, see that third base up and running while those Stalkers away. The Banshee pushing forward to play, getting some additional kills, okay, racking it up, and this is definitely going to help. I'll bring up the Harvester kill count here momentarily. It looks like still 38 to 50, so nowhere close, but doing some damage. And I'm looking for that Observer. Okay, the Stalker sneaking in from behind. Where's the Observer? Without the Cloak, it's not going to help. There's the Observer lagging behind. And some Zealots being warped in menacingly. What are Zealots going to do? Somehow, Happy actually catching up in the pure Harvester count, 5140. And with Mules, he's actually going to take a slight economic lead. And Socke perhaps having some trouble, perhaps pausing it to get that quick Nexus out. The probe production, I mean. Actually, it looks like he's still sticking it out. But job well done, I have to say. Moving up to take his third base, the Observer going to see it, but I have to. I'm amazed actually that he's anywhere in this game economically. Armory also being produced. He does have 2 engineering bays, so really wants to pump that. Also at Ghost Academy, Ghost's going to be critical, particularly with all those armor upgrades, those weapon upgrades early. So because he's at the moment behind as far as just flat upgrades go, he probably will be behind in upgrades for the majority of this match. Twilight Council actually getting Zealot Leg Charge. I might have missed Blink upgrade, but I think there might have been a Blink snuck in there as well. And we now have a Robotics Bay behind the base to get some troops. And now that, oh, actually double expanding. 6 o'clock for Socke as well as the 3 o'clock. Those Banshees might have more success just splitting these forces in multiple directions. Or even medevac drops might be opened up here. Unfortunately, only a single medevac in the field, and another Ghost, I assume, out not to, again, to provide engagement action, but just to build that energy up. Looks like we do have a Mobius reactor building. And again, the Banshee, yeah, not a lot of energy left, so it's not going to have a ton of Cloak to get away with, but 15 kills, getting up to 16 kills, and wow, worth his weight now. Blink in, is this? Yes, that's his last hurrah. Propeller spins off and hits the ground. Well done, though, I have to say, and economically it looks like Happy with that is actually caught up. 57 to 52 harvesters. That plus the mule is going to put him in a good position, but he needs to get a move on because that is a 4th Nexus in production. 3rd base already up just as he's taking his 3rd. Socke still holding strong map control and economic control, I should say. A lot of tech labs being planted, though, to get a heavy Marauder force. Again, I'm really curious to see engagements and how that Ghost, really what it's going to come down to is that Ghost and that Raven. They're going to really be the X factors for Happy. If he can land a good point defense drone to neutralize those Stalkers and a good Ghost hit to neutralize some of these sentries and that Immortal, and maybe even soften up those Zealots, it's going to be fantastic. Already some troops, some probes transferring to the 6 o'clock location. Looking at the flat gateway count, we should see a big pump from Socke because he's going to be getting a significant economy very rapidly here, and is going to need actually more stuff out here just to work with what he's producing. Looks like some Colossus, or basically to fill in that income. I mean, he's going to have so much money, and as I say that, the harvester count is once again leapt ahead. Level 2 weapons now upgrading for Happy. He's at least not falling hugely behind as far as that upgrade count goes. Planetary Fortress to the north, that will slow down his economy a little bit because it's not an orbital command, but needs that defensive structure just because of the problems there as far as just flat defense go. Having that top corridor and not much of an army to defend. This doesn't look very scary at all, I have to say, compared to that, especially this growing Colossi count. Oof. 6 o'clock base well saturated, no gas take yet. 3 o'clock base well saturated, no gas take yet. Main is mined out. But this is essentially 3 mining bases, which is a scary situation for Protoss. And I like what he's doing in the meantime. Socke is staging troops out just to make sure that Happy is not going to sneak any additional expansions, has good vision otherwise as well. And actually, I'm wondering if this observer will move to the north momentarily. Single Marine jockeying out to his death, wants to get some scouting information, and that is the exact unit he did not want to see in his death. A single Colossi, but at least he's happy it's only 1 instead of 3. Actually, maybe not. Would have been a more merciful death. There we see the additional gateways to provide that. Ooh, 3 robotics facilities. That is going to get a lot of Colossi out in the field very, very rapidly, and Happy needs to get this starport up and running quickly. It looks like he already switched out in anticipation, has some Vikings producing. His medevac count still very low, though. Only 2 medevacs out for his entire army, a single Raven, 3 Ghosts, and again, that's going to put a lot of that burden on those Ghosts. Still scouting out this expansion, looks like Socke nearing max, is already staging out to take some additional troop positioning. And I think we're going to see the first engagement of the match fairly quickly. Alternate Socke, sorry, keep doing that, is going to be in a good position. He has a large army, lots of upgrades, just needs to dodge, and actually level 3 armor already, actually just needs to dodge some of those EMPs. If he can dodge those EMPs or catch those Ghosts in open field, it'll be huge. And the next question is the point defense drone. What role will that play? Sensor tower actually on the front, trying to get a good spot of things. That Marine going to be able to jog out with some of that protective force with that Marauder. Looks like the rest of this army is starting to shift around. That it's actually more Zealot heavy at this stage than I thought it would be. Socke going very, very Zealot heavy. Just flat unit comp. Oops, I was on the unit composition tab. 24 Zealots. And actually just sticking to the 9 Stalkers. Perhaps he got a spot of that Raven and decided to switch it up, getting a lot more gateways. Level 3 weapons finishing out. Looks like level 3 weapons also on the way otherwise. And level 1 weapons for air to try to chew those. Ooh, actually some Dark Templar sneaking up to the north. Very sneaky. Planetary Fortress plus Missile Turret doesn't care about those Dark Templar, though. And one good comp set here. Dark Templar are going to be taken care of, wow, very rapidly. And keep in mind that Raven, oof, crushing it in open field. So that was a bit of a null attack there. Shields now being upgraded. Nexus, additional Nexus. Wow, 5 versus 3. And Happy needs to get a move on, otherwise he's going to get boxed in. Approaching 200. Has a sizable attack force, and keep in mind no High Templar to really soften it up. And actually only 3 Colossi still in the open field for Socke. He has 5 Colossi, but it looks like the 2 are trailing. This is not this is right when the engagement is about to happen. He needs them right there in open field. Single Marine scouting forward. I like that from Happy. Reinforcement pylon is going to get wiped out, so it is going to be, and I don't think Socke wants to engage this without a pylon to quickly reinforce in open field. Looks like he's going to back off a little bit. I think he's just looking for, and actually I'm not sure that either player really wants to engage. It's really more up to Happy to engage rather than Socke, because if Happy just sits back on this army, he is going to get out macro and just starved out over the long term. But it looks like Socke eating a bit of an EMP, did not catch a lot of that army, engaging from the north. Nice force fields, trapping a lot of those troops in. And it looks like several of those Marauders being taken out, but the Vikings completely unopposed, chewing through those Colossi almost instantaneously. Oh my goodness, and the Colossi not getting a lot of attacks on on these troops. They were actually held back to the rear of that army with that point defense drone being incredible and Happy, completely crushing that attack force through some nice micro and beautiful positioning is really what it comes down to. So he survives another day, is actually going to probably claim an expansion as a result, and happy to do so. Socke with this expansion to the south needs to play a little bit more defensively, can't just charge out in open field and be aggressive at this stage, particularly considering how, wow, how convincingly Happy won that fight. Still at 179, 183 supply now versus 165. Beautiful. And also the sensor tower, I have to just look at the coverage he has. He can see any large army moving forward, so he should be able, as long as he covers the Selnaga watchtower, be in great position to provide some additional defense. And I almost wonder if this is going to be another planetary, just preventatively. And oof, this looks scary. A lot of Vikings moving forward with some Marauders and that Ghost charging ahead. Perhaps feeling like he really did annihilate that army and that Socke is not going to be able to refill that all that rapidly. Unfortunately, he would be wrong. Socke with a huge amount of gateways. Look at this. Look at this back-end production and a lot of robotics facilities. The one thing he needs to do with this, ooh, it looks like some troops snuck through. Planetary Fortress upgrading, but there's a Dark Templar underneath trying to slow that army down. Dark Templar going to be there waiting for a comsat, though, to clear this up. There's the comsat. Still, okay, there are enough attack troops to kill it. It looks like that turret going to be replanted. Little nice harassment there by Socke. And it looks like he is going to strike first blood in the economic war, because he is taking his bottom left-hand expansion. Keep in mind, another big engagement. Moving forward, blinkers, stalkers blinking forward. EMP catching a lot of them, though. More EMP crushing a lot of this army. And again, the Colossi not on the forward flank on top of those Marauders, and as a result, getting boxed out, only engaging single Marauders at a time, and being whittled out by those Vikings. The Marauders focusing instead the Stalkers and Happy, winning that fight convincingly once again. Some High Templar are now going to be able to clean up the rest of those Marauders, but Colossi out of this fight. Reinforcements moving up, and now Happy should retreat. He still has a significant supply lead, and actually lifting up with a couple of those medevacs, but this army mostly separated. It looks like it is reinforced towards the main. Stalkers, Zealots, and an Archon charging forward, and blinking, going to be able to catch the rest of this army, but going to get pinned in from the right. Went too far. EMP on top of it. So these Stalkers going to be very soft against this highly upgraded army, actually fully upgraded army at this stage. Archon taken out. Blinking away the Zealots. I'm not sure how they managed to get back there. And this army needs to evacuate, and evacuate immediately. So Happy claiming that 12 o'clock base, holding it convincingly. And again, in these engagements, the critical problem for Socke is the Colossus positioning. They've only been engaging single Marauders, maybe two Marauders, at a back position, not on top of the full army, and just eating Viking fire entirely. And it doesn't matter if you have 3 robotics facilities pumping Colossi. If they are not involved in the fight, they are not helping you out at all here. Socke losing this pylon to the north. Observer's still going to catch a lot of this troop movement action here as well. So nice scouting from both players. And Socke, even though he has the economic lead, and even though he has a brutal amount of infrastructure, still finding himself in a bad situation in this map. He's got a lot of, I mean, he's just not able to refill his army as rapidly as he'd want to. He just keeps getting wiped out so quickly. Happy staging forward to Dark Templar, EMP, which I thought revealed the troop, but apparently not. Looking for another comsat. There it is. Does in fact, and Happy feeling strong with his map control and this threatening army, particularly perhaps an indication from Socke sending a Dark Templar rather than the rest of his army that he's a little bit weak and soft at this stage. Command centers going up in this upper left-hand corner, and with that, Happy will take the economic lead for the first time in the match. But before I say that, never mind. Additional next in the bottom left-hand corner. So actually just going to even things up, and it is going to come down to a pure economic game, and it could be anyone's match, honestly, at this stage. Happy thus far getting the better of these engagements. A lot of medevacs to support. Viking force looking a little bit smaller at this stage, which, again, with all these Colossi, could be hurt. And some more nice EMPs. It looks like the High Templar also being a null factor in this engagement. EMP everywhere. Wow, Happy's been fantastic with this EMP. It looks like this army is being pulled back. Reinforcement pylon taken out. Socke is just going to have to evacuate. A couple more troops just here in the middle of the map as well. A nuke being upgraded. Wow. A nuke, so we are going to see these ghosts provide some, well, we'll see how the nukes land. Especially if they can sneak out to that, well, to any of these expansions, they can be really effective. Dark Templar, I don't think that, okay, there's the comsat, quickly taking out the troop. Dark Templar are really worth their weight in gold, though, because that's a comsat instead of a mule at this stage, at a very critical stage of this map where every bit of minerals count. Although I think Happy's rolling a bank that he doesn't mind giving up a little bit on. Oof, Stalkers bleeding out in midfield. Looks like a couple Zealots sneaking up, but a command center once again becoming a planetary fortress. The real prize will be these SCVs, and it looks like the SCVs fleeing for their lives, escaping where they can. Planetary fortress about halfway finished. A lot of this army pressing forward. Looks like just a single Marauder being left, and that army moving up, wanting to engage once again. 5 Colossi in their ranks. It looks like the Zealot's able to take out the turret, but not a lot else. And this is, well, he doesn't want to engage on top of this planetary fortress, but he does want to perhaps pin these troops in, kill them on their evacuation, knowing that those troops are to the north, going to try to delay them, maybe strike blood otherwise. But this is where the sensor tower could play a big role, catching a lot of this army open field, and actually Comsat seeing everything there. Level 3 weapons also being upgraded. I wanna note, because that's going to make those Vikings more effective. Once again, pushing up Colossi, getting melted once again and being caught in open field, but actually getting a little bit more of this army. Couple troops being caught on the corner as well, but those EMPs, just 2 MPs catching that entire force. And with those medevacs to support, Happy once again melting that army, and his engagements have been superb. Absolutely superb. Particularly those EMPs have been golden. Absolutely golden. High Templar retreating. Looks like they are going to be able to evacuate. And now comes really that critical stage, is you're away from your reinforcement point. This is where Protoss can sometimes shine, because they have those pylons that can warp in reinforcements across field. But 3 o'clock base still mining, 6 o'clock getting somewhat thin, and you're separated from your infrastructure is literally what I'm trying to point out here. Is here's all the infrastructure, here's all your producing bases, and this is where keeping an eye on these big troop movements moving across the middle of the map is absolutely vital, and engaging them before they get too dangerous is also important. It looks like an observer is going to catch a lot of this army as it's pressing forward. Ooh, kind of a wasted EMP there. A couple wasted EMPs, not, I don't think, worth it for a single observer. These troops warping in just to try to slow everything down. They are going to cut in reinforcements, particularly, and most notably, a lot of those ghosts. Some Vikings also moving up, and it looks like an army trying to swing around, but not in the best engagement position here. Some High Templar are able to catch a lot of these troops. Stalkers on top of it, and it looks like the Immortals swinging around as well. Colossi out of this fight, but it looks like there's enough underneath otherwise to completely crush and send this army home. Looks like Stalker's trying to focus on those medevacs. A couple of these ghosts, ooh, and a nuke actually to the north, missing everything. A couple of these troops to the north trying to do what they can. And Socke, with his first open field battle victory, and I've been saying that a lot this map, I apologize. Looks like the Marauder's going to try to sneak in, do what they can. They're a bit of micro here, only 3 left, at least going to pull this army away and buy some time. Actually being left here, no, can't do that. And that's going to buy some time to rebuild this attack force. Now Socke with a huge macro lead, 185 versus 141. And nice engagement there, really splitting that army in half beautifully. 3 o'clock base, north 3 o'clock base, now being claimed by Happy, still has not occupied it yet. Looks like most of his, he has the same problem, but it's a little bit less of a problem for Terran because of those planetary fortresses. And as you can see, every waylaid base, everything that's off the beaten path is a planetary fortress, has a gigantic gun on top of its roof. In the meantime, robotics facilities continuing to pump out these Colossi, but nukes on the opposite corner. And the problem with nukes is if you're going to execute well with nukes, you really have to lock and commit to an open field battle. It looks like a ghost, or you need to hit a really posh base and make it difficult to detect where it's located. There's a Comsat. There's the nuke incoming from Socke. I wish we got that old nuclear launch detected action. Also an army staging to the north, and looks like that nuke is going to in fact drop. Are the probes going to get caught? Close, but no cigar. Only a handful of probes being taken out. Instead, that Nexus only taking 500 damage and a huge engagement to the north. Rue prepare, but Psystorm everywhere. A lot of SCVs being crushed, and this army still standing. So damage rotten. Wow, tons of ghosts with snipe and everything else, and more EMPs taking out a Colossi by themselves, but very quickly being annihilated. A ton of SCVs moving to the north, and they're just going to get crushed as well. Now the bulk of the army finally moving up. But I think there's actually, and I think Socke at this stage is happy to lose this army with the damage that he's done. Because he's done significant damage. Taking out a planetary fortress has done a lot of damage otherwise to the SCV count, bringing up the count for Happy. He's actually fallen behind a little bit, 69 to 67, actually a little bit closer than I thought it was. So it'd be a nice cleanup attack. I mean, really, and Socke still has this base mine. He did not lose it to any sort of nuke. He's actually hitting photon cannons just preventatively, just in case. I think this ghost was killed somewhere around here. It looks like, yeah, in fact it was. I wish I had gotten a good kill looker, and I hope there wasn't a nuke in the meantime to the bottom left. It is possible that there was. I'm sure it'll be corrected by everyone, all of the fans, what's happening, but unfortunately I still don't get the nuclear launch detected where I can frantically look for everything. In the meantime, Happy staging in the middle of the map, but another attack moving out to the 3 o'clock, and this is Orbital Command with a ton of mules. This is really going to hurt Happy's economy. All of these mules just completely crushed, but another big attack here at the 9 o'clock. Some reinforcements being warped in, but how long are they going to last? Are they going to last long enough to get some reinforcements to hold this back? And I don't think they are going to be there in time. Vikings eating some damage. It doesn't make a difference, so this Nexus melting rapidly. Some troops chasing down those Zealots, but that is it. And in this exchange, Happy is going to be well ahead of Socke. Looks like some of these troops, and that's really not enough to even engage this wholesale. Too many Marauders, really, in my opinion. And it looks like some, yeah, engaging this to the north. Need to get back with the bulk of the army and need to regroup. That is several Immortals, but only 3. Oh my goodness, some Psystorm to soften this up a little bit. Now turning around, trying to engage. Happy doesn't like the situation. He's trying to get to high ground. Actually losing troops as a result, perhaps overstimming a bit. Now engaging. Able to catch a couple of these Colossi, but now 5 Colossi, really highly upgraded. Very dangerous, particularly in these numbers. Some Ghosts cycling around. They need to get an EMP off on these Immortals in particular to really give Happy a good chance in this fight. There's the EMP, catches several of the Immortals. I don't think all of them, though. Bring up all of them. It looks like there is 1 Immortal, 2 Immortals. Still some shield standing. Happy going to regroup, and with that EMP, Socke also going to be sent home. Single Marine still staging at the 9 o'clock base, waiting for Happy to swing around, take his 9 o'clock behind that destructible rock, and now it is a flat, even economy race, and when you look at it, oof, it's still anyone's game. Really intense, coming down to the line. Happy, currently with the supply lead, has been fantastic with the Ghosts. And it looks like, I like this actually, Dark Templar already up there with some Zealots to try to deny it. These Dark Templar aren't going to get it anywhere to the north, though, because it looks like there is a turret as well as Planetary Fortress to defend against a lot of this. Some more units actually staging back to the north, and I almost wonder why they're drawing back to the main here. Perhaps scared of, fearful of those Ghosts, perhaps just trying to regroup with these Colossi. Yeah, you can see the Dark Templar taking down some turrets, and they might even actually be able to take out some gas. So at least they're going to be somewhat distracting here. But over the long run, they're not going to be able to accomplish a ton. They might slow Happy down and reveal the bulk of his army, though. Looks like we were maxed armies across the field. A lot of Immortals once again. It looks like they do, in fact, have full shield. 3 Colossi. This is a really brutal army. Archon, fully upgraded, several Stalkers. Keep in mind, there's still some Zealots and Stalkers to the north, so it's not going to be the full army array. There, that High Templar are going to swipe his last swipe. But some Zealots and a Stalker moving in as well. Maybe wanting to thin out this SCV line. Looks like some more SCVs moving up here. So nice little ninja tactics here. Guerrilla warfare at this stage, which I said never happens in StarCraft, but I digress. Looks like that 3 o'clock base also being staged out. Single Stalker just going to deny that. So Socke realizing this is going to be a longer economic game, just trying to do what he can to try to whittle these troops out. Bunch of Vikings and medevacs, very scary, all those medevacs, but there's a big army moving behind it as well. But at the same time, Socke's not really moving forward to do anything additionally, and we have another nuke on this high ground. Let's see if it's going to be spotted. It does not look like it. Okay, there, finally realizing it's going to pull back and loses nothing, actually. Not even a probe, loses a cannon. So it doesn't hurt him, and actually I'm not even sure that economically works out. But looks like that harass has been stopped to the north. Still more troops waiting to do some more harass with a warp prism. And a big engagement waiting to happen in the middle, and that is a lot of Colossi. Actually, let me check a look at the Viking count, down to 1 Viking. This could be a scary situation for Happy, with so few Vikings to engage those Colossi and so many Immortals underneath on top of it to really pound through those Marauders. I have to say, if it is just a heads-up engagement, barring some magical EMPs, I think Happy will be on the losing end of any straight heads-on engagement. My question now is who's going to take the opportunity to take the additional base? Where? And oof, nothing but Marauders left. Is it just flat Marauders? I think it's just nothing but Marauders and Ghosts. And a nuke. I guess a nuke could be the big difference in a fight as well. Ghost running forward and in plentiful numbers. So finally the Zealot taking out that 9 o'clock Marine that's been just staged there forever. A couple troops in. Both players playing very carefully. They do not want to lose any sort of major engagement. They do not want to plan an expansion that's taken out Happy being the aggressive engager here, moving up, making sure this 9 o'clock base is not being established. And I think this is where it's really going to be more favorable for that planetary fortress style. Feedback going to catch... Oh, more feedback, catching some more of those medevacs, which will definitely make those Marauders a little bit softer, particularly because they're not going to have the energy to really press through that poor Marine. That poor, foolish Marine. Now does Happy want to engage? He's still... Ooh, some more... Oh, man. All these medevacs, actually, really drained of a lot of that precious energy. And Dark Templar moving forward as well. Actually dropping, and Ghost losing some energy there as well. Oh, Snipe. Big engagement. EMP everywhere! A lot of those troops EMP'd, but it looks like some Immortals still have some shield. Immortals melting on the front line, and again, heads-up engagement. It looks like Happy's still going to win just because of concavity. Ooh, nice EMP, and again, through some beautiful EMPs, and I should say actually nice feedback there. Happy's army stands. Socke still has the flat macro lead, perhaps just in Harvesters. Looks like a portion of that is in Harvesters. Things not looking good for Socke, I gotta say. It doesn't seem like he has an answer for this Marauder-Ghost combination with these medevacs. Trying to regather, still has some more Colossi out in the field. It's really hard for Protoss to engage just because of their... Oh, nice separation. But just because of this, the Marauders have so much room to just press back, and I almost wonder if sentries would be valuable here in the field. A couple Marauders sneaking down, going to be able to pick off one Colossi, but it looks like the bulk of this army is going to be taken out. And the last Marauders being hunted down like the dogs they are. Some feedback additionally on these medevacs going to really make them weak, and it's going to be a while before Happy can restage a large army down to 136. Needs 70 supply to fill, while we have Socke at 180. This is a good time actually to move up and take that 9 o'clock base and maybe go in for some sort of attack at these planetary fortresses, or at least try to deny that location. Whereas if we bring up the income tab, Happy actually starting to drain a little bit. 12 o'clock is out. This base is still mining but not saturated, so he's down to basically 2 bases. And I don't think he's really in a position to take a third here. That Stalker's going to deny everything. In the meantime, Happy has refilled a lot of that supply. Socke still, having trouble. And I feel bad just because on open field, I'm sorry I keep saying open field, but it really is a big part of this map. When you can't have those Colossi, when the Colossi can't just run up and engage and pin those Marauders forward, and pin a lot of that infantry forward, when they can just micro back and reposition, it's very, very difficult for Protoss to just engage and win heads-up battles, especially with all of that EMP support. Happy swinging around, comsetting forward, seeing a large portion of that army. Nice EMP catching a lot of that, and you can see Socke trying to retreat, get some, and at least thin out the Ghosts, thin out the medevacs. Instead, looks like he's taking some damage. Now the Colossi pressing forward. Still not the best engagement point, so still retreating. Critical moments here. And oh my goodness, probes being annihilated on transfer, and this 9 o'clock base is going to get hunted down. This is devastating. Socke losing his economic capacity here. Oh, everything getting crushed. He needs to actually pin... excuse me, actually get out of there. Brilliant play! Nuke behind the army to make sure this encroaching Protoss army does not pin him in and crush him, basically just push him out into the ocean. Looks like Socke is going to back off, sending in a scouting probe to return and do the same. More nukes in production. That was genius. Unfortunately, he's still pinned against this wall, and this is where those Colossi are going to shine. Comsat, big engagement here. Colossi stim packing forward, eating a lot of High Templar. Storm right there. It looks like a lot of that army chewed away, just melting to that lightning from above. Loading up in the medevacs to retreat. Some feedback on retreat. Looks like the Stalker's going to try to pick off what they can, blinking to the wall. And Happy actually moving south. Oh my goodness. Okay, this base he can lose. Socke has no trouble losing that base, but if he ends up losing this base, this is going to be devastating, and he needs to get here in a hurry. This is his last mining outpost, essentially. He's in actually a really troublesome situation. Needs to hold that desperately. If he loses that base, that will in fact be match. Happy, also buying himself some time with these attacks. He's going to quickly take this Nexus out. Every Harvester counts. Bring that back up. 37, wow. It's actually done a fantastic job of just crushing the peon count. Re-engaging in a hurry. This is going to again be critical that he can stop this army here. This is going to be a harder maneuvering space for Happy with those medevacs because of the Blink Stalkers and the Colossi. Okay, able to pick off a couple of those medevacs here and there. I'm waiting for, and actually High Templar are going to be critical down here with those feedbacks. Ooh, loading up once again. More medevacs getting picked off. Happy's still trying to run around, do what he can, buying time to rebuild his army to the north, and these medevacs just pinned in. It almost seems like, ooh, feedback's raining from above. This is a really desperate situation. Oh, moving to the south would there most certainly be boxed in and killed summarily. And that is not a letter you want to send. This is like the coal miners inside the mine right here, where it's possible, but it looks grim. Oh my goodness. Poor medevacs, the humanity. The few bit of troops, trying to sneak out, but Stalker's pouncing on that. Yeah, they are not getting out, and I will spare you the gruesome details. You can watch the mini-map, the humanity. In the meantime, a lot of Vikings out in the air to try to minimize the Colossi effect. Base being established at the 9 o'clock base, or sorry, base being established. 9 o'clock base up and running for Socke. He needs to get probes there, and pronto. But the critical thing is that he denies this base to Happy. He looks like he has a Zealot stage there, and he denies the 3 o'clock base to Happy as well. I've got to say, Happy looks like he's in a better position as far as just flat map mechanics look. Ooh, Orbital Command trying to evacuate. Stalker is damaging this. I don't know how long that's going to last, though. Socke still has the supply count lead, and he needs to do something with it quickly. If he could take out this base, that would be huge. Unfortunately, I don't think he has a lot of information. You can see, wow, look at the saturation there. That is a lot of SCVs. Still. Another army moving out. Not as many medevacs, but a lot of Vikings to support, and still those ghosts. Oh my goodness, so many ghosts that have been fantastic. EMP taking out those observers. Gravimetric boosters also being upgraded. If Socke can get a warp prism out and have a warp prism staged there, or at 9 o'clock and his army staged elsewhere, that could be very significant, because Happy can't be everywhere at once. Or can he? Again, very Marauder attack, heavy attack force. It looks like it's going to be entirely Marauder Ghost Medevac Viking. Throwing everything here. That makes it sound more... It's still very... No Marines. That's what I'm trying to indicate. No Marines, no tanks. None of that other stuff. No Thors. I'll pull it back. Look at the bulk of this army. Some nice pick-offs there by the Ghost, but that's at least going to force them to drain some energy, force some EMPs. I don't think those EMPs hit anything. Use snipes instead of those critical EMPs on what is a very bulky attack force, and that is a huge amount of Colossi. Every Viking is going to be critical. Nuke canceled on the front. Marauders trying to dive in, swing around. Looks like they were able to pick off a Colossus, and Cloaking Ghosts moving forward. Observer needs to get there and in a hurry. Having frame rate issues all of a sudden. I apologize. I just stopped apologizing so much for my casts. Happy still staging forward. It looks like you've got that 3 o'clock base down and running. Mules dropping, and this is the worst situation for Socke. Mules on an expansion for his opponent. 9 o'clock not very well saturated either, so he is running a severe deficit, just bringing up the kind of mineral versus gas count, and you can see that Happy's well ahead where it counts. Okay, that army's trying to swing around. Bring it down. I'm in trouble with my cues. All of a sudden, a bad cast. Oh, Mule's getting annihilated, and Happy not able to defend, losing the orbital command. Huge swing of events. Socke getting it done, doing everything he needs, actually critically killing that. A bunch of Vikings staging forward to try to pick off those Colossi that are somewhat separated. EMP also trying to catch what it can, and really wants to engage here. Maybe not the best idea. Actually, this is a good engagement point. Socke actually needs to try to move back a little bit. Happy still trying to press this. Hugging that Zelnaga watchtower, though. Battlenet connection lost. I guess I lost my internet connection. All sorts of distractions this cast. Observers fanning out, trying to get a good look on what Happy's up to. SCV's moving forward, but wow, a proxy nexus with only a Zealot to defend. This could get really creative really quickly. And all sorts of SCVs engaging the Zealot. Zealot already up to 3 kills. It's going to die pretty quickly here. And Archon moving up with some High Templar as well. And ooh, this could be a lot of damage. All those, yeah, you do not want to be in a heads-up fight. And it looks like, yeah, Socke is actually going to establish the 9. And this is a brilliant maneuver. Might as well defend where you need to defend, turn a disadvantage into advantage. He has to defend this location anywhere. That's going to force Happy to engage in a kind of close quarter location as well. So this is a genius tactic. You might want to cancel this Nexus because I don't think he's going to be able to get there in time. But at the very least, even if he doesn't, he's going to be able to pin a lot of this army in an advantageous engagement situation. Stim packing there. Okay, there's the cancel Nexus. Keep in mind, still reinforcement pylons. Zealots starting to stream forward, and Colossi don't like it. Okay, gonna back out. But still, this is a great engagement location. Socke might even want to warp in some cannons. Warping in some units to the north. Still trying to sweep around. More High Templar trying to do what they can, and it looks like an orbital command, at least the shadow of it, moving in. This is a huge engagement point. Now pushing forward. Good EMP, catching a lot of that shields, particularly on the Colossi, but Psystorm otherwise really softening those troops for those Colossi. All the Marauders melted. The Vikings being crushed as well. And again, a beautiful engagement point for Socke, getting the engagement he wanted. Vikings, that entire army crushed. And still plenty of Stalkers and Zealots. It looks like some Colossi surviving as well. Orbital command retreating for Happy. And let's see if actually Socke takes this opportunity to replant that Nexus. Happy, perhaps in a desperate situation. Still an Observer tacked out. He's going to try to retake that 3. He's low on resources, actually down to 44 Harvesters, so looking fairly even in that count. Still ahead, I think, economically. No, he's actually slightly behind here at this stage. That might just be because of Mule saturation, though. And again, yeah, Socke making the right decision. Gonna plant a Nexus there. And this is really the okay, I'm back. The critical location. Bunch of SCVs moving to the 3 o'clock. A single Stalker trying to create some disruption. Oh, so many SCVs, actually. And this could be just a couple High Templar or even some Suicide Zealots. Looks like there is a task force moving there. This is going to be the critical engagement. Happy with not a lot of troops. Doesn't have the bank to refill this army. Is just going to have to defend with what he has. Although that still looks kind of scary, I gotta say. All those Marauders, several Vikings, some Medevacs, and some Ghosts. Those Ghosts going to be critical in this engagement. EMP able to catch some Colossi. Still staging around, and this is going to be the big moment. Another EMP. Somehow that Archon's still alive. Moving forward. Blink Stalkers in mass. Going to crush this army, and that should be GG. Nice. Beautifully played from Socke. I love that 9 o'clock base take. Well played by Socke, and a really well fought, I gotta say, from Happy, considering he started off on the back foot and crawling his way back into that match, but Socke still able to clean it up and win it. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Sorry for the hiccups here and there. Thank you for listening.